Kim, the Abundant Traveler, and welcome to the channel. Today I'm continuing the series about the Amalfi Coast. From Praiano to Positano to Ravello, this video is all of the top highlights to visit in the entire area of the Amalfi Coast. If this is your first time visiting the channel, I put out laid-back luxury travel videos inspiring you to buy that plane ticket and go see the world. This video covers several things that you should do when you are visiting the Amalfi Coast. Nothing specific to any particular village, just some great things to do when you're in the area. Let's start with a couple of things to do on the water. 1, rent a boat. Get a boat, hire a driver, rent a boat, take a day boat, do whatever it takes to get a boat. For example, if you're in Positano, you can rent a boat on your own and they will help you with getting it out of the marina and back into the marina. If you're not comfortable driving the boat yourself, then you can get a driver, and it's a great way to learn about the area. Just make sure to get out on the water. Another great thing to do is take a sunset cruise or a dinner cruise. It is incredible to see these villages of Praiano and Amalfi and Positano or Minori actually from the water as the sun goes down. It is absolutely spectacular and a perfect way to have an Aperol or a limoncello spritz. Additionally, if you're a water person, then I recommend doing the Amalfi, the whole thing, by catamaran. I did an entire week with Intersail Club. There's a link in the description below. And if you tell them I sent you, then you might get a small discount. But renting a boat for the entire week is a wonderful way to see all of the Amalfi from the sea. Are you kidding me? It was one of the best things I've ever done. While you're on the water, a couple of great things to see when you're renting that boat, you're on that catamaran. One is to see the Green Grotto. That's different than the Blue Grotto. It's the Green Grotto, where all of the water when you go inside is green. It's not as crowded as the Blue Grotto, but it is a really great experience. Another place to visit is the beach of Furore. I have so much trouble saying that. This is that Instagrammable beach where you see the tiny beach and the cliffs and the bridge. I'm not sure if we can get to the beach right now, but if you're on the water, you can definitely go in there. Also, there are lots of caves and coves on the water, so just drive around, see where you're headed, end up at a great swimming spot, and just soak in the Mediterranean. So now that we've done stuff on the water, let's do stuff next to the water. And the best thing to do is to rent a beach chair. Renting a beach chair on the Amalfi Coast makes you feel like $1 million. You get a chair and an umbrella, and somebody comes to you and brings you cocktails and food all day long. It is a perfect way to spend the day at the beach. There are a couple of beaches that I do recommend as well. For Neo Beach, which is not the main beach in Positano, I also recommend going to Minori and doing their beach as well, which is about a little bit further east. Also, if you're looking for the see and be seen beach on the Amalfi Coast, then make sure to stop by the Arienzo Beach with the orange umbrellas and the orange chairs, and everything's orange and also very Instagrammable. Now that we have talked about a little bit of on the water things to do, let's talk about things to do not on the water or inland. Number 1 is to go to Positano, go to the beach, which is the Spiaggia Grande, go to the end of the beach by the rocks, and of course, take your Instagram photo. There are so many Instagram photos there with that beautiful money shot of Positano, so that's definitely something you want to do. Whether you're an Instagrammer or not, it does make the perfect picture, especially really early in the morning when nobody is around. Additionally, things to do, 1 is walk the Path of the Gods. The Path of the Gods is probably the most famous hike in the Amalfi Coast. It's 6.5 kilometers and it runs from Bamarano to Nocelle. And it's a beautiful hike where you see spectacular views all along the way. You see Praiano down below. You can actually walk all the way down to Positano as well, which is more than the 6.5 kilometers. It's another 2,000 steps. But if you're feeling strong and you think that's what you want to do, then I would take that extra 2,000 steps. Another hike that I recommend, which is easier than the Path of the Gods, is the Path of the Lemons. The Path of the Lemons is between Maiori and Minori, and you go through the lemon orchards, and it's a wonderful, easygoing, relatively flat hike, and it's a great way to spend the morning or afternoon. Something else that is a must-do on the Amalfi Coast is to get on the Amalfi Coastal Road. I recommend, if you can drive a scooter, to rent a scooter for the day so you can jump off and on and go see the different beaches or walk down to the different towns. Or you can rent like an old Fiat 500, which is a lot of fun. It doesn't drive very fast, but it is a lot of fun to do that. You can hire a private driver for the day, or you can simply take the CETA bus from town to town to town along the coastal road. That CETA bus is only going to cost you about €2 each direction. So if you're on a budget, the bus is the way to go. It is a great option. I took the bus several times. I also took private drivers a couple of times through the area. Definitely take the coastal road along the Amalfi. Let's talk about must-do food while you're on the Amalfi. Well, of course, number one is lemons, and limoncello. They are famous for the Amalfi lemons, which can get like this big, and you can get lemon sorbet inside of a lemon. You can drink limoncello spritzes. They also do an amazing lemon pasta as well in the area. So eating lemons is number one. Also, if you're interested in the lemon orchards, I recommend doing the lemon experience, which is in the town of Amalfi. They do a great little tour. It is quite touristy, but it is really interesting to see this orchard and the way the family it's kept in the family for multiple generations, and how the orchard actually works. So, and if you're interested in the limoncello experience, go to the description below. Honestly, I have put all the links to everything in the description below. So no need to take notes, just go to the description and look up all of the things that I mentioned in this video. In addition, with the food, I recommend pasta, and the pasta to have is the fongole. That is the pasta with clams. To die for. So good. I also recommend, of course, having the caprese salad, because the tomatoes, the Sorrento tomatoes, are grown in the area with fresh mozzarella. Make sure that the mozzarella on the caprese salad was made that day, not store-bought, not last week. Make sure that the restaurant makes their own mozzarella, or they get it fresh every single day. Of course, Aperol Spritz is in the area, but since limoncello is famous in this area, maybe you should try a limoncello spritz instead of an Amalfi spritz. And while you're in the area, definitely take a cooking class. That's a lot of fun to see how they make the pasta, make the sauces, see how simple Italian food actually is. There are a couple of stops that I recommend making on the way for food as well. One is stopping at the Hotel Sirneuse, which is in Positano, and watching the sunset there if you can get a reservation for sunset, having cocktails and drinks. They're famous. I mean, the area is famous, has the most beautiful green, delicious, big, rich olives. So make sure when you're getting your limoncello spritz or your Aperol spritz that you're getting potato chips, olives, and peanuts. In addition to going to the Sirneuse, I recommend going next door for cocktails to Franco's, quite famous in Positano. Also, a restaurant I recommend is in Ravello. It's different than anything else you're going to be going to. It's called Campo Cosimo, and it is traditional mountain food. I had rabbit, and it was to die for, and a great traditional restaurant, delicious wine. Now let's talk about what to shop for. Just a couple of things that are famous in the Amalfi Coast. One is sandals. Lots and lots of places will make handmade sandals, so you can go in, pick your style, pick your colors, pick your size, and then the next day they will have your sandals ready for you. Additionally, buying pottery is very famous in the area, either with the blue and the yellow with the lemons, or some other patterns that are famous in the area. Also, buying linen is very famous in the area as well as these Positano or Amalfi shirts, where they're brightly colored. They're more like a tunic. And the place to get those shirts is Antico Sartoria. I hope I said that correctly. If you're headed to the Amalfi and you're not sure what to pack, make sure to click my free guide in the description below and download everything that you need to pack for the perfect trip to the Amalfi, from hiking to beaching to fancy dinners to wandering the streets. This packing guide has it all. Now let's talk about a couple of towns that you can't miss, as well as a couple of things to visit in these particular towns. One, you have to go to Positano. I mean, that's a given, have to go to Positano. I also suggest that you go to the village of Atrani, which is next door to Amalfi. And it is, if I'm not mistaken, 0.12 of a kilometer big. It's one of the tiniest little towns in all of Italy, and it's very intimate. They have only one little street that goes up the mountain. The other towns that I recommend visiting are Minori, and I also can't miss is going to Ravello. Ravello up in the mountains, gorgeous, less people, cooler if you're there in the middle of summer. So those 4 towns are my top 4 that I would go to. Of course, you're going to be passing through Amalfi as it's the major hub of the area. A couple of sites that are cannot misses while you're on the Amalfi Coast. One is the cathedral in the town of Amalfi, the Duomo. It's beautiful. It looks like the Duomo in Florence, just a smaller version. Also, I recommend going to the Duomo or the cathedral in Salerno. It is a perfect example of the Italian Renaissance. Those are the 2 major churches I recommend. Also, if you're staying in Positano, do check out their cathedral, but the Amalfi and Salerno are much more impressive. I also suggest that you visit the Roman villa that is in Minori. It is an incredible example of Roman architecture, and it's not as touristy as some of the other Roman villas and Roman things that you can find actually more near Naples. One interesting and a little bit different museum that I recommend seeing is the paper museum in the town of Amalfi. It's sort of hands-on. You get to see how they make paper. It's something different and unique and a little bit special in the area. I also suggest there are 2 gardens that I recommend seeing, and both of those are in Ravello. That is Villa Conbrone at the edge of the cliff where you can see all of the Amalfi Coast, and also the Villa Rufolo, where they actually have the symphony in the summer, where the symphony is sitting out over the edge and you can see the entire Amalfi Coast. So the last 2 items are not actually on the Amalfi, but they're very easy to get to from the Amalfi, or you're going to be going right by there on the way to the Amalfi. One is Pompeii. Pompeii is a must-see, must-do, must. You must do that while you're in the Amalfi. And while you're in the Amalfi and you're going to Pompeii, make sure to go to the Archaeological Museum in the city of Naples. The other sidebar that's not the Amalfi, but it's a must-do while you're in the area, is visiting the town of, or the island of Capri. Capri is incredible. If you're in the area, you're only gonna do it once, then take a day trip, take a ferry, and go to the to Capri. So that actually sums up all of my items that I think are must-dos on the Amalfi. Of course, you can't do all of that in 1 week, but it'll give you some highlights and some ideas of how to make your trip easier. So I am Kim, the Abundant Traveler, and I will see you on the next Amalfi adventure very, very soon, because I can promise you I didn't get all those done on my trip, so now I have to go back. Bye, y'all. This is a test of the emergency broadcast system. This is only a test. Beep. Trying you to bly that bly to bly to bly to bly.